Hello, today's video is about the drawing books I should be using. If you're new here, my name is Linda and I'm an American expat living in Italy. I'm a mother of two and I love all things paper and stationery. I design printables and you can learn more about my creative design through my website, tortagialla.com. And if you click on the free printables section, you can download loads of designs to use in your planners and journals. I'm happy to share and welcome everyone into this happy hobby of paper crafting. So this video is prompted from my need to take a look at my collection and actually use the things that I'm imagining myself wanting to use. I recently bought a new drawing book, The 50 Ways to Draw Your Beautiful Ordinary Life. And I realized I already have a lot of doodling drawing books that I haven't completely gotten through myself. So it's just sort of a bit of a challenge to myself to sort of take stock of the books that I have and look through them again and sort of assess, do I want to go through them? Should I go through them? Are these the drawing books that I should be using, given that I already have them on my bookshelf? So this first book is called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. It sort of comes from a workshop that a lot of people could have taken back in the day. It's like many years old now, where in a couple sessions or a couple days, you will basically improve your drawing skills. So this is definitely very classic in terms of learning to draw realistically. And it goes through exercises, and this entire book basically goes through the steps that normally she would take you through. By the way, this book is by Betty Edwards. She would be taking you through this in an actual live workshop. But it's become a book, and you can basically go through each section yourself at your own pace. And I bought this book many years ago, I think, maybe before even I had kids, I want to say, or when they were young, and I thought I wanted to jump into this. And I definitely went through a few chapters of this book, and I think that it definitely helped, and I did improve in a sense, but I'm actually personally not very drawn to drawing realistically per se, like portraits or scenery or landscapes. It's very pretty to me. I like to watch other people do it, and I appreciate the artwork when I see it. But for me personally, I like sort of the kawaii, cute type of style. So after a while, it just sort of like wasn't very appealing to me because of that reason, even though I realized that having a good foundation in drawing and skills, perspective, like all of that type of thing is going to help you no matter what type of artwork or style you choose to work in later on. So maybe I will still go through this bit by bit and see where it takes me. But as you can see, I got just a couple chapters in and there's still the whole rest of the book to go through. In terms of reading it and obviously doing the actual drawing lessons, not just reading the sort of theory or the content that she's giving you. And there is a section on color as well, which is definitely my weakness, so that is probably something that I should go through. But I definitely recommend this book if you want to learn sort of the basics, foundations of drawing. And given that this is presented to many different types of people, not just people who want to be artists, but really these were workshops that might have been given to corporate, offices, like as a workshop for a couple days. I think that it is very approachable for anyone, literally anyone, even someone who says they cannot draw at all. It's really the philosophy of learning how to see. And so if you're able to see properly, then you will be able to draw out what you see. It's just that normally we have a bias and we think we already know what the object is from our experience, and that's why it's different. This next book is called Craft a Doodle, and it was compiled by Jenny Doe, where she basically went to a bunch of artists and asked them to present different exercises. And this is definitely much more in my vein in terms of very like doodly, 2D, sort of cutesy, quirky types of drawing methods. And I bought the book, one, because I followed Jenny Doe and I really like her work, and Art Saves, like the whole movement kind of thing. And I also really love many of the artists that are featured or have participated in this book, giving examples. So that's why I was compelled to purchase this book. And again, this was also years ago. And I did go through some of the exercises, but definitely not front to back. And this book is not really meant to be worked through necessarily in order. There's just different exercises from each artist. So you really can go in any order that you want or flip to whatever page you prefer at the time. So basically, for each artist, they give you sort of like an overview of what they are trying to teach you. And they give you lots of examples and step-by-steps and a couple different exercises from each artist. And the range does vary, but these are some of like my favorite artists, Cory Dantini and Gemma Corel, like just so many different cute like ways to learn how to draw. And certainly you're learning how to draw like them, but that's sort of like the first step of learning maybe a different style or something different that you might not necessarily come up with yourself or start off with yourself. So I definitely like having this book, but I haven't gone through it entirely. And again, it seems more in my style, but at the same time, sometimes I hesitate to look at things that are very similar to what I want to create because I don't want to copy them or be too heavily influenced. So there's this weird push and pull of wanting to look at people's artwork and then not wanting to look at it at the same time. It's definitely very odd. But let me just flip through these pages here so that you can see there is a large variety. So there's characters and sort of cutesy things, but also a lot of more abstract and mandala type designs and just lots of whimsy. I guess that's what you would call it, sort of doodly, whimsy style, and definitely very fun. One thing I was thinking was maybe doing this with my kids because they are old enough, obviously, to draw, and maybe they can follow along certain things and have fun, and we can sort of do it together, which would get me to use the book and for them to have some fun doing something with me, something that I like and something that they can do at the same time. So that's one idea for this book that I should be using, is to involve the kids, so maybe that will get me to go through it as well. So that's Craft a Doodle. By the way, I will include links to all of these books down below if you're interested in looking. And this is called Contemporary Fashion Illustration Techniques. And I got this years ago, and I don't even remember how it is I came upon this book, I know why I ordered it, but I don't know where really it came from. Like, where did I see this? I don't know. But basically, it's a fashion illustration book. So it's meant for people who want to go into fashion, and of course, they need to learn how to sketch quickly and display like whatever kind of design that they're trying to create. So it's made for that, but I don't want to be a fashion designer, even though I think it's lovely. Like, that type of illustration is very beautiful. But I thought it would be good for learning how to draw characters in a quick, sort of fashion, proportionally, and sort of learn like how to clothe them and accessories, because I definitely like drawing characters, even though they're very childish and like cutesy and sort of chibi at this point, which is a very different style from fashion illustration, when normally they are very like tall and slim and everything is very sleek looking. But I just thought that it would be good for learning the basics. And you can see that this book really goes from the basics of learning everything, and including hair, which is very cool. So just every aspect of drawing a character, obviously, and clothing them for the purposes of fashion, but I just think lots of great examples, and hands, definitely, that is a hard thing to do, and learning all of those sort of aspects of drawing, which I think can be very helpful. Again, someone who is going into fashion. They're not necessarily illustrating directly for a living, but it's obviously a very important part of their job to be able to illustrate a character and show like the design that they have in mind so that it can be made into actual garments. And I believe there's also a color section, which is something that I'm always looking for because I know the basics about color theory and things, but I just don't, I'm not at home with it. It's something that I definitely need to learn more about always. So there's also a lot of examples at the end of characters, so just a very cool book. And again, another one of those books I should be using because it makes sense to me now that I go through it why I got the book. And this is the latest book that I got, 50 Ways to Draw Your Beautiful Ordinary Life, because I am a big fan of Flow magazine and, Slow Living, just everything they create is wonderful. They use a very large pool of illustrations from different artists and just very cool style that is sort of vintagey, which is not, I'm not actually super vintagey or 50s, like that kind of look, but like when it's mixed together with lots of different styles, I do like it. So this book is split up into sort of like your home because you're illustrating your daily life. And each section will have like step-by-step exercises of how to draw everyday things. And there are some very cool sort of like freebies in it as well in terms of a cute little notebook or a cute little extra tidbit that is included. So let me just do like a very quick flip through of this book because it is very, very long, but I do like it. And this is the latest one I got. And I am definitely going through that fear of like actually using my pen in it because it is meant to be drawn into. Like every page has space for you to draw, like follow the example and draw your version. So I really need to break that barrier and dive into this book at some point. And okay, so that is basically, those are the books that are on my bookshelf. They are the drawing books I should be using. And I just wanted to share them with you and obviously provide myself with a bit of accountability or motivation now that I've gone through them to be like, okay, I need to find a way to incorporate this into my day-to-day and use them. So those are my drawing books I should use. I hope you enjoy this flip through and let me know if you have any comments about incorporating daily drawing into your life or using drawing books, or maybe you have favorites, or if you think something is better, definitely share down below in the comments.